The Devil is in Democracy 2024 Part 2. In which Faith responds, "Dear friends, note, the hook is freedom. The devil is in the details. No one in the devil's reality is free. It is not possible to be free in the material realm, were it even desirable. Freedom is a hook for the egotistical, the selfish and narcissistic. There is no virtue in freedom and no honor in avoiding commitments. Freedom is for cowards and those unable to keep a promise. The epitome of freedom is the man who runs away. Heroes are not free. The winners of a Congressional Medal of Honor or a Victoria Cross were not free. Such men as these are trapped in a code of honor. Heroes have a commitment to a calling, higher than that which motivates lesser men. Is common men cannot comprehend that which calls the hero forward. This calling of the hero is more than just duty. Heroism expresses a love so pure, it is beyond the scope of the common man's understanding. We lesser men can but honor those who live out their faith. The vast majority of us give up hours and dollars and parts of our conscious mind to pursue what we have faith in. Other men give up their souls for what they believe in. What do men of faith care about freedom? The clarion call of freedom is by them ignored. They choose not to be free, because they are committed to something greater. The devil promises freedom, because freedom is a blindless man in an empty room. At root, the worst situation we can be in is to be free. A lost man is free. The man seeking to serve God is not free. If we are free, there is no need or desire for faith. We can be free, free even of humanity. But what is emptier of hope than the free man? Without faith there is no hope. Who is freer than the atheist, freed of God? Liberals yearn to be free, but free of what? What is there to be free of, but everything that has value and meaning? What does it mean to be free of the cares and woes of family life? There is freedom in the desert and freedom on the ocean. There is freedom in brigandage, and in piracy and even in lunacy. There is no freedom in truth, logic or morality. Yet the devil promises freedom and man responds. But what is a life that does not demand commitment? If I am free, what of ye who must then serve me? How are you free? And if you are free, who pays your bills and washes your socks and does all the things that must be done? We cannot be freed of the flesh but in death. In this meat machine we all are trapped. We cannot be free of food, nor water, nor shelter. But still, you want to be free, but free to do what? Perhaps to enslave me so I can serve you? How can those like me, who have faith in something greater than the flesh, be free? For in the end, we all must die. But if all are free, and free of faith, what have we but anarchy, and that red in tooth and claw? In the world of the flesh, might makes right, in the end justifies the means. That is the law of the jungle. The free man reverts back to nature. We are free, so long as our paths do not cross, or your vine does not cross over into my yard. Yes, we are free when there are no laws and no resistance. We are free up to where the property belonging to someone else begins. The ability to apportion freedom is the beauty of private property and national borders. The idea of private property laid out, if somewhat clumsily, where my freedom ended and yours began. But globalism seems to guarantee a higher kind of freedom, a freedom where borders are no more, and the world is open to us all. But where is the freedom in that? What means freedom for a cripple that cannot move from here to there? Freedom is a mocking harlot. It promises so much but at a cost that eventually destroys us. Who then has captured freedom? Who has won the prize? For freedom is an illusion that keeps fools busy. Freedom is an illusion one is wise to ignore. The wise man seeks love out, to escape the freedom that is the bachelor's lot. The lonely are free but no one is so enslaved as the lover. But hark, yet listen, a voice calls out, promising freedom. It is the voice of the politician. Vote for me, to be free, says the politician. Freedom, I promise, if elected. But it will take you handing over all your property and rights to accomplish what politicians promise. Freedom, says Democrats, is held back by greedy men. Equality is a right, says the state. If you are born, you have human rights. No need to prove yourself. Everything is inalienably yours. It is those with property who prevent everyone from sharing the wealth. Why must some do without when the world has so much wealth? The state is here to share it out. It is on the power of their politicians garner your votes. But what do these demagogues have, but promises and what they take from someone else? No amount of money is enough when one is giving away free stuff. It is easy to multiply money endlessly, but no amount of money will create even a spoon. The real things that the illusion of money chases, remain as scarce as ever. Regulation upon regulation must be created by any government that promises freedom. Freedom from hunger is only possible when all food is to be shared, and last only so long as the available food supplies hold out. We have homes and clothes and a seat on the bus because the law says this must be so. But the law, like money, can be multiplied forever. Actual seats and buses require someone to manufacture them. The actual things we need do not come into being by law. We are free, but free of what? We still want, we still fear, and we are still trapped in the flesh of our bodies. Scarcity remains. If we are not short of one thing, then we are short of something else. Yet, the state claims, we have freedom, and writes more and more law, to protect and enhance this freedom. To have freedom, according to the state must regulate freedom. Freedom is a scarce resource and wanted by all. There is a competition for freedom. The freedom we have must be portioned out, so all have a piece of it. The individual is not free by his own hand. Freedom belongs to all, it cannot be hoarded or accumulated or customized by individuals, for their own enjoyment. Freedom for all, is freedom of the same kind, a kind of cookie-cutter freedom, a freedom that is easily regulated and allocated. If we are to be free, freedom must be shared in equal portions to all and everyone. This is freedom from the perspective of the state, a social good, for the public to consume in equal portions. But we can vote, and that is a kind of freedom people did not used to have. Vote is the totality of mankind's democratic freedom. The people vote, and vote yet again, as the regulations controlling freedom increase. We vote as free men and become by this means, wards of the state. Voting puts us under the state. All of us are subjects of a regulatory state. We are assigned a legal name at birth. The legal name makes us a corporate entity. By law, the legal identity is given life by the state. The identity, who is the legal us, is owned by the state, in the way domesticated animals are owned. We can vote to confirm we are subjects of the state. We are free to obey the law. We are legally free, as animals are free to roam the pasture. The vote is a social contract. We vote to create a new entity, the state, that sublimates our individual identity. The subject becomes a unit of the state, as the Christian was to be an element of the church. We the people, are the state. We are the electorate, and we are legally represented by the state. Our voice is the voice of the state, and the state speaks for all of us. Freedom is being curtailed in the name of group identity and a freedom of the group that is at odds with individual freedom. Peace is the true meaning of freedom. America especially venerates gang culture in the image of the outlaw. This is war. Peace is the true face of freedom. We fear this kind of freedom. We fear peace because we have no faith. So, we put our faith in the state, and the state is an agent of war. The Second Amendment gives Americans the right to bear arms, but what for? If we have the state ought to create peace. It is when the state becomes an agent of anarchy that we need the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment was designed to give the people the right and ability to defeat rogue parliaments. But politicians never admit to being the enemy of the people. In anger and frustration, the people turn on each other, as supporters or detractors, of the state. What is democracy but a mechanism for shifting power from the people to parliaments? Parliament is a broker, not a builder. Governments take from Peter to pay Paul. Democracy makes social what was individual. Individual choices are turned into social choices, and individual wealth is amalgamated by taxes and is socialized. Private property is turned into public property. The individual citizen is transformed into a subject of the state. If property was private, the state would have no power. More and more the state dissolves the rights of property owner in favor of the public rights of the people. The individual cannot on his own supply freedom. The individual is always at risk. Indeed, freedom poses a risk because freedom can always be abused. The right of free speech can always be exploited to justify yelling fire in a crowded theater. The social deviant is freer than the Christian. The life of a Christian is rejected by those espousing freedom. Freedom, in liberal democracies at least, becomes a social good, supplied and regulated by the state. Like all other social goods, it is a scarce good with infinite demand. Man wants freedom from fear, but freedom is the source of fear. We fear the freedom of the other. The other represents a threat to us. Fear is speculative, based on what might happen. So, we sacrifice the freedom we have, to get a freedom that is only possible, based on the promises of politicians. Liberals call this situation, the social contract. The individual gives up freedom to get protection from the mob. But it is ultimately the mob that controls the political process. The freedom of the individual is transferred to the state so, theoretically, they can regulate the rogue elements, who threaten our freedoms. But democracy is a source of risk. We lose our sovereignty to the popular vote. Only faith can overcome the fear. Faith creates peace because those who we trust are the people we are not at war with. Peace builds the church. To build faith we build trust. Trust is built through works of faith. Works of faith are always the work of a community that is at peace. Works of faith builds a community of trust, or what the Bible calls a church. Faith is not compatible with fear. Fear does not serve as the foundation of peace. If we fear others, we cannot have peace, and where there is no peace there is no freedom. In fear we learn to embrace law, and the law creates a war because in the law there is no faith. Only when we can make the leap of faith, and pursue peace, do we have the capacity to live in freedom. The problem is, we do peace by making peace with the enemies of peace. We cannot reconcile with evil and expect peace to follow.